BrainBobble presents 8 Ways to Read Body Language Around the World. Get ready to take your travel game to the next level. Before you jet off on your adventure, there's one crucial thing you need to know: body language. Different cultures communicate in different ways without even opening their mouths. But don't worry, we've got you covered with fun and easy tips for reading body language around the globe. Just remember to do some research before you go, so you're prepared for any unique cultural differences that might come your way. Let's dive into the fascinating world of nonverbal communication. 1. Observe facial expressions. Different cultures all around the world use facial expressions to say things without using words. But here's the kicker: what might mean one thing in one country could mean something totally different in another. For instance, did you know that in some parts of Asia, it's actually polite to cover your mouth when you laugh or smile? And in many African countries, sticking out your tongue can show respect or approval. So if you're traveling somewhere new, make sure you do your research on what different facial expressions mean. It could save you from any embarrassing moments or misunderstandings. 2. Pay attention to eye contact. Eye contact can have different meanings depending on the culture you're in. In the United States, direct eye contact is considered respectful and shows confidence. However, in Japan, avoiding eye contact during conversation is a sign of respect and humility. Similarly, in many African countries, prolonged eye contact can be seen as disrespectful towards elders or authority figures. On the other hand, in some Latin American countries like Brazil, direct eye contact is used to show interest and engagement in conversation. And in some Middle Eastern cultures like Saudi Arabia, men avoid direct eye contact with women out of respect for their modesty. These cultural differences are not set in stone and can vary depending on the situation and context. So it's always important to be aware of these nuances when interacting with people from different backgrounds. Paying attention to their eye contact can give you valuable insight into their thoughts and feelings. 3. Interpret hand gestures. It's worth noting that hand gestures can have completely different meanings depending on the culture in which they are used. For example, in Western cultures like the United States, a thumbs-up gesture is a sign of approval or positivity. But in some Middle Eastern countries like Iran and Afghanistan, it's seen as offensive and similar to showing someone your middle finger. And it's not just the thumbs up. Making a circle with your thumb and index finger is considered vulgar in France, Brazil, and Turkey. While pointing with your finger is common in Western cultures to indicate direction or emphasize a point, it's seen as impolite in many Asian cultures like Japan and South Korea. By being aware of these cultural differences and adapting your behavior accordingly when communicating with people from different backgrounds, you can show respect for other cultures and avoid misunderstandings. So next time you're using hand gestures to communicate, remember to consider your audience. 4. Listen for tone of voice. To improve your accuracy in interpreting people's tones of voice around the world, it's important to understand that different cultures may place varying levels of emphasis on tone. For example, some cultures may value a calm and even tone as a sign of respect and politeness, while others may see a more animated and expressive tone as a sign of engagement and interest. It can also be useful to pay attention to the pacing and rhythm of someone's speech, as this can convey additional meaning beyond just the words they're saying. Additionally, keep in mind that context is key when it comes to interpreting tone. What might sound confrontational or aggressive in one culture could be perfectly normal in another. By observing other nonverbal cues alongside tone, researching cultural communication styles, and considering contextual factors, you can improve your ability to accurately interpret tones across different cultures. 5. Look out for personal space boundaries. Have you ever noticed that personal space boundaries can vary widely across different cultures? For example, in many Latin American and Middle Eastern cultures, people tend to stand closer together when they talk, while in Nordic cultures there is generally a larger physical distance maintained. This can have a big impact on nonverbal communication. If someone from a Latin American culture tries to engage in conversation with someone from a Nordic culture, they might unintentionally invade the other person's personal space and make them uncomfortable. On the other hand, someone from a Nordic culture might come across as cold or disinterested to someone from a Latin American culture where closeness is valued. Similarly, in Japan there are very strict rules around how close you can get to another person. Even touching someone's arm or shoulder during conversation can be seen as inappropriate. By contrast, in some Mediterranean cultures it's perfectly normal to touch and hug people you've just met. It's important to be aware of these differences and adjust accordingly when interacting with people from different cultural backgrounds. Who knew that something as simple as standing too close could have such an impact on how we communicate? 6. Watch for head movements. Do you want to become an expert in reading body language across different cultures? Well, one of the easiest ways to do this is by paying close attention to head movements. In many cultures, nodding your head means yes and shaking your head means no. However, there are some cultures where the opposite is true. For example, in Bulgaria and Albania, nodding your head actually means no while shaking your head means yes. Similarly, in Greece and Turkey, a slight upward nod of the head means no, while a downward nod means yes. By being aware of these differences, you can avoid misunderstandings and communicate more effectively with people from different backgrounds. And it's not just about yes or no. Different cultures use different head movements to convey all sorts of meanings. In India, for example, a slight tilt of the head can indicate respect or acknowledgement. In Thailand, bowing your head slightly is a sign of politeness and deference. So next time you're trying to read someone's body language in a cross-cultural situation, make sure you're paying attention to their head movements. It might just give you the clue you need to understand what they're really saying. 7. Analyze touch behavior. Ready to take your communication skills to the next level? Then it's time to start analyzing touch behavior. Touch can be a powerful form of nonverbal communication, but it can also vary widely across different cultures. For example, in some cultures, like Italy or Spain, it's common for people to greet each other with a kiss on the cheek. In other cultures, like Japan or China, touching during greetings is considered inappropriate and even disrespectful. Even within a single culture, the rules around touch can be complex. In the United States, for example, hugging is generally seen as friendly and affectionate, but there are certain contexts where it might be seen as inappropriate or unprofessional. So how can you navigate all these different touch behaviors without offending anyone? One approach is to pay close attention to what others are doing and follow their lead. If someone from another culture reaches out for a handshake instead of a hug, follow their cue and shake their hand instead of going in for the embrace. And always be mindful of context in professional settings or formal situations. It's generally better to err on the side of caution and avoid physical contact altogether unless you're sure it's appropriate. By analyzing touch behavior and adapting your own actions accordingly, you'll be well on your way to becoming a communication pro. 8. Look at walking style. Walking styles around the world provide a unique window into the values, attitudes, and behaviors of different cultures while also giving away a person's personality, mood, and cultural background. For example, in Italy or Brazil, people tend to walk with swagger, while in Japan or Korea, walking is more formal and controlled. Even within a single culture, there can be variations based on age, gender, social status, and other factors. By mirroring the walking styles of those around you when traveling, you'll send subtle signals that you understand and respect their cultural norms. Through cracking the code of walking styles, you can unlock a new level of connection with people from diverse cultures and backgrounds. After all, walking is not just about getting from point A to B, it's a reflection of one's personality, mood, and cultural identity. With these tips in mind, you'll be able to read people like a book no matter where you are in the world. You'll be amazed at how much more you can understand about someone just by paying attention to their body language. So next time you find yourself in a new place, don't forget to keep your eyes peeled and your senses sharp. Who knows what kind of fascinating things you might discover about the people around you. And for more insightful tips and mind-expanding food for thought, subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching.